Hey, what's up guys? This is Guy here with KBTrainings. Today I'm coming with a video on the installation and the configuration of the UDM Pro SE. I made a video a couple weeks ago showing you the unboxing of the UDM Pro, and I gave you all the reasons why I choose the UDM Pro for now. And for those of you that are following me on Instagram, you know that it's already installed, as you can see here. So if you don't follow me on Instagram, make sure you follow KBTrainings on Instagram to see all the behind the scenes and everything that I do here. So the device is already installed. And today I'm showing you all the installation process and how you can do some major configurations. And this is actually what we're going to see or do today in this video. I'm going to show you my home design, the installation of the disk for UniFi Protect in the UDM Pro SE. We're going to do the basic or initial configuration of the device, and we will configure UniFi network by configuring WAN connections, the different networks in a device or different VLANs that we have. We are also going to talk about Firewall Rules. You don't really need this to get started. This is one of the things that I don't like about the UDM Pro SE because it's kind of coming ready to go. So it's like a plug and play. You don't have to do much in terms of Firewall Rules when you get it set up for your network for the first time. But right now I have many things configured. I have remote access configured, the VPN remote access. So you may need to do some modification to the Firewall Rules if you want. So I'm going to show you how to do that. And I will also configure the switch port profiles, and we will configure wireless networks or create a different SSIDs. And then I'm going to talk about UniFi Protect configuration. Not much to do here. And I will tell you about my experience with this device because it's been almost a month since I started using it. And this is actually the device itself. This is the dashboard of my UDM Pro SE. As you can see, it's running fine, and this is what my UniFi network looks like. So right now everything is running for me. It's set, it's all good to go, but I'm going to do a factory reset on this device so I can show you the basic configurations as I said. So before doing that, I need to take a backup of my configurations. Go under advanced and scroll down all the way here and click on download to download the configuration of the UDM Pro SE. All right, so now I have my UniFi, my UDM Pro SE backed up. I can go ahead and do the factory reset. But before that, let's talk about my home design. This is what my home design looks like. Oh, no, let's start here. So this is what I have in my home network right now. And the UDM Pro is right here. So it's replacing the FortiGate. The FortiGate is the device that I've been using so far. I made a lot of videos on this home network. I have a playlist in the description. You can go and watch it. So this has been my firewall for years now, and I'm happy with it. But I'm moving to the UDM Pro SE. I'm also replacing the UCK or the UniFi Cloud Key Gen 2 Plus with the UDM Pro SE. So everything was done here before, but now UniFi Protect, all the footage is in the UDM Pro SE. And that's where I have my UniFi network server as well. I'm going to create another video showing you how to do the migration from the UCK to the UDM Pro SE because it was not as straightforward as I thought. So I'm going to give you some tips that you can use to facilitate your migration from the UCK to the UDM Pro or UDM Pro SE. So I have the WAN 1 coming with fiber, WAN 2 from Comcast, and I have the USW 24 PoE switch. I have 3 access points and a lot of 14 UniFi cameras, and I have different VLANs. These are my VLANs that I have. And if we go on the second page, I'm going to show you how devices are connected to the UDM Pro SE. You can see that I have my 3 access points directly connected to the UDM Pro, and I have the WAN connection here on the 10 gig. I have the backup on a 2.5 gig. And I have these 4 ports here going to the switch with the different VLANs that I have. And I'm going to tell you some things about this switch here, the small switch on the UDM Pro. It's kind of different, a little deceiving, but we're going to talk about it. So now I'm going to show you quickly how to install the disk in the UDM Pro SE. So you just need to pull out the tray and put your hard drive. Right now I have a 4 terabyte hard drive that I'm going to put on this, but it was later changed to an 8 terabyte. And I currently have almost 25 days of footage that I keep in my disk. So I have a 3.5-inch drive, so I don't need many screws. I just need 1 screw on the side like this, and I put the tray back in the UDM Pro and it's good to go. So now let's go ahead and reset the device and continue with the configuration. Okay, so the UDM Pro SE is now reset, and we are going to have access to it to configure, to do the initial configuration. So we are here at this time. So to do that, you need two cables. You need to have a cable to your computer. So your computer needs to be connected to one of the switch port. And I do have mine connected to the port number 8. You also need to have your internet cable connected. I connected it to the port number 10. You need to connect it to the port number 10. And now we need to go, your computer should get an IP automatically from the UDM Pro. So we go to the 192.168.1.1, which is the IP of the UDM Pro SE. And we should have access to it. All right. The UDM Pro SE is ready for configuration, and now it's booting. Needs about 2 minutes. So let's give it a moment. Now it's ready. We just have an announcement here. UniFi is just telling us how they are very committed to us, and we are ready to set it up. So we click here. As I said, I have the internet connection connected already. So I'm going to agree to this, and you can change the name of your device here. I'm just going to leave UDM SE and click on next. Do I need to do a personal install or a business install? I think I'll go with business because I think it might be more complicated. So what kind of business I am? Education, size 1 to 100, which is right for my home network. I have I mean, not close to 100, but almost. All right, so I click on next, and here I need to log into my UI.com account or my UniFi login, and I have two-factor authentication enabled, two-factor authentication code. You can skip that step if you don't have an account. There was a skip button there if you saw it. And I have my backups here that were taken in the last couple of days, but I'm going to skip it. I'll go with that backup because I'm going to show you the configurations. Here I need to set how I want my automatic updates to happen. I really don't. I can do disable, or I can do it daily at 3 a.m. or I can do it weekly. I choose the day and the time. This is for the updates. And the configuration, I don't want to send diagnostics. I'll just keep it to myself. So now it's testing the speed of my internet connection. This is my backup, the Comcast one. I don't use the fiber here yet because that is PPPoE. We're going to set it up later. I can start with PPPoE. It's also possible. I did it the first time. But in this case, I just choose to go with the easiest to do because PPPoE, I need to set up the VLAN ID. I need to set up a bunch of things. Okay, so we have the result of our pings. I'll just leave these numbers like this. This is what I'm expecting from the ISP, and click on next. It's giving me the details of my configuration for me to review, or my setup that I just did, and then I'll click on finish to wrap up everything. So now it's setting up the device. It may take several minutes. Now we are inside the UDM Pro. As you can see, I have one cable connected on the port 10, I think, and another cable on the port 9. So the 9 comes to my laptop, my computer here, and the 10 is the internet port. Usually with a new device, you have an update available. So you need to make sure you updated your application. If it's there available, you can just click on there. And if you also need to update the UDM Pro, you need to go under say, okay, yeah, we have updates here. I think I'm not going to do it. Or if you come here, you can click here or there to update these two applications. I think I can just do it now. Let's do it. All right, so we have the UniFi network and UniFi Protect up to date. And if you have an update for the UDM, it should be here. But we can see that it's also up to date. So let's go ahead and configure UniFi network or take a look at it. And if you come in UniFi network, of course, we only have a single device right now, which is the UDM Pro SE, where we are actually connected. What I like about this here is that the cables that you see here are actually what is connected to the device. So we have two cables. Let's start with WAN connections. Yeah, we're going to do WAN connections first. You can go under settings and go to internet. So you can see here that we have our connection that we plugged in here from Comcast with the public IP. You can go ahead and make some changes inside, but we're not going to do that. What I'm going to do is add the default connection. So let me go ahead and connect my default connection, and I'll come here to do some updates. Okay, as you can see, it's green now. I have to do some configurations because this is PPPoE. I could have started with this one here at the beginning of the setup. It's still the same thing. So I could have started with this, or with the DHCP that I used. So here I'm going to select manual so I can insert all the settings needed. I need the VLAN tag of 201 and I need to change the connection type to PPPoE. Here I'm going to insert my PPPoE credentials. Okay, and that's all we need, and I'm going to click apply. That will apply these configurations on this interface, and we already received an IP here, and we should see all the other things coming later. So I can go back to the dashboard and we see that we have the primary connection that's here. I can run the speed on the primary connection. Let's see how much speed we have. It should be 1 gig up, 1 gig down, but it's usually less than that. So we have about 600 megabit per second download, and we have 930 megabit per second upload. So here you can come and test the speed for all your connections. And talking about the connections, we only have the failover option. If you go under backup, you can see that all it supports is failover. There is no split between the two connections at the same time. Like I had in the FortiGate, I had the SD1 configured, but this doesn't support that, so that's kind of unfortunate. Okay, so next we're going to create some networks. Right now, if you go under settings and networks, you can see that we only have a single network that is the default network that comes with the device where we are actually connected right now, and all the 8 ports on the switch are inside this network here. So what we're going to do is create a new network. We're going to create 2 fictional network. The first one, I'm going to call it network 1 or net 1. And if I want to create just a VLAN without any interface associated, I can click here for the VLAN only. But let's create a full network first with a default gateway. And this is where I can configure the IP of the default gateway. I can uncheck there to give it an IP of 10.0.0.1 for the gateway, and you can see that we have with IP gateway the broadcast, the range, and the subnet. And if we scroll down, we have many other options that we can change here. If we want to give it a VLAN tag, we can go under manual and give it the tag number 10, for example. What kind of network is this? Standard or guest network? Guest will mean that the devices will not see each other and they will only have access to the internet. So I go with standard network. This I'm gonna give this leave this to none for now. Add GMP for multicast snooping. I don't have to enable it. And DHCP I usually like to start at 10. And yeah, we don't need IPv6. That's it. I'm going to click on add network and the new network is added. If I want to create another VLAN only, I can come here and give it a name, net2 for example. And I will click here and give it the VLAN ID of 20, and that's it. Add network. That's how you add multiple VLANs or multiple networks to your device. And the next thing we're going to do is to set firewall rules. Okay, this is one of the things that I don't really like about this device because it comes all set, kind of. Because right now, if I go in the CLI, the command line, and I ping Google, for example, you can see that I'm able to ping it, even though I haven't done anything special beside the WAN connections. But with the FortiGate, I had to do everything manually. I don't like the fact that they kind of helped me and get everything set up when I didn't actually do it, because I feel like I don't have much control. That's one of the downs with this device here. It's good for people that don't like to spend all the time doing those configurations, because this is actually, it's kind of plug and play, but I don't like it that much. So this is if you need to do some modifications to your firewall settings. It's under firewall and security. This is where you can see all the rules that are managing your traffic in your network. It comes already set for you like this. And the only instance where I had to do some changes, one of the first changes that I did was for my VPN network. When I did the remote access VPN configuration, which I'm going to make a video about, by the way, I had to come here and make sure I allow the traffic from my VPN network to my internal network. So you can come here and do changes if you want. So we're going to talk about that later. That's for the firewall rules. And then we're going to set up switch port profiles. With the networks that we created, we already have switch port profiles created automatically. But if you want to create some other profiles, we can come here and click on profiles. And here we have all, which means that it contains all the networks that we have, including the VLANs. And the native VLAN for this is the default VLAN, which is the VLAN number 1. And we have the disable if you want to disable the ports completely. We have the LAN if you want to a port to be an access port in the default VLAN. And then we have net 1 and net 2. I can add a new profile if I want. Let's say I want to create a network where the default VLAN is the net 1. I'm just going to do net 1 default, for example. I need PPPoE for that if I need. And what is the native VLAN for this? I can grab the net 1. And if there is any tagged network, I can tag all the other networks. I can tag the default. I can tag the net 20. And if there's any voice VLAN, let's say net 20 is a voice VLAN, I can also set it there. And I can do some other things manually for the switch, but these are switch configurations. I don't need much here. And I'll just click on apply changes, and that port switch will be created. And then I can go back to the device itself. If I go back here and click on the UDM SE and go under settings, I can grab a port, let's say port 1. And if I want to change the VLAN on the port 1, or if I want to make it a trunk, for example, I can come here, port profile, and select net 1 default, which means that now the port 1 will be a trunk, and the native VLAN will be the native network will be the network 1 that we defined. So the VLAN 10 will not have a tag on this interface, and I can just click on apply changes, and that will be saved in a device. So next thing we're going to do is set up wireless networks, SSIDs. To do that, I need to go under settings and Wi-Fi. This is where you can give or create your SSIDs. I can give it a name of SSID number 1. The password SSID 1 password. You can check it here. And what network does this belong to, or what network is bridged to this SSID? I can choose any of this. I go with network 1. And if we have already access points loaded or on this device, I can see the access point here, and I can select which access point can broadcast this SSID. Right now I don't have any device adopted, so it's blank here. And I can come and do all the configurations on the SSIDs. Usually the auto should work fine, and when you finish that, you click on add Wi-Fi. This one here, for example, will be 2.4 and 5 gig at the same time. I like to do that as well. But if you have a network for your IoTs, it's usually good to leave it at 2.4 because most of the IoT devices use 2.4 band. So I just click on add Wi-Fi network, and that's it. And if you want to add more, you can just come here and create new Wi-Fi. And for new devices, if you have a device you connect it to the same network as this UDM Pro here, you'll be able to detect it, and you can then adopt it on your UDM Pro SE. So let's go under UniFi Protect, and we can see that the 8 terabyte disk that I have is there. It's still empty. I mean, it was wiped out when I did the factory reset. If I have new cameras, I can connect them and they'll be listed here. And if I just connect the camera to the same network, it will be detected. And I have the option to adopt it in my system. And here I can set the different views and so on. This is just like the UCK, so there's not much for me to say here. I just realized that. So that is all. Now let me tell you about my experience with this device here, because it's been almost a month since I started using it. I think it's good. Besides a couple things that I don't like the fact that it's pretty much plug and play. I don't like that. Or the fact that the port on the small switch that we have here are not fully they don't have all the options of a regular switch. If you look at the UDM SE and you go under this port, this is all you have. You don't have much to play with here. You don't have a lot, just like we have on the USW 24 PoE. So that's something. So I cannot do LACP, or I cannot aggregate interfaces. I cannot do mirroring on these ports, which is a little deceiving, but it's still fine. I can work with that. And the VPN supports only L2TP. It works fine on my MacBook. I set it up so I can be anywhere and connect to my home network. It also works on my iPhone, but I tried to do it on the Android phone. It was kind of a pain. I didn't go far with it. I just dropped it. So that's one of the things. UniFi Protect is good with the UDM Pro SE. I feel a huge difference compared to the UCK. The UDM Pro SE is fast. It loads quickly. The image is good, usually HD all the time. I don't have 4K camera, so it's all HD. Even if I'm outside, it's really quick. So my assumptions were correct. With the UDM Pro SE, the drive is on the same motherboard with the processor and all the other components. So it runs really fast when you want to check your footage and everything. So I'm happy with that. I'm happy with UniFi Protect 100%. Let's say, yeah, I don't, maybe 98%, because sometimes it really doesn't act up much. It depends on my connection mostly, but the device itself is always delivering on time without any problem. What else? I think that's all I can say about this device here, but I'm going to change it though. If you follow me on Instagram, I have a new checkpoint firewall that I'm going to install. So I'm going to use this for the next couple of days, and then I'm going to install the checkpoint firewall, and we'll be making videos for you about checkpoint. Alright guys, thank you for watching. If you have any question or any comment, go in the comment section. And if you are studying for the CCNA, the course is available on KBTrainings.com. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care and bye.